been a while since we've been here, but we are back again with another device that we're going to talk to you today about. It's the Zifilink bonding device, and it's a very small little device that looks something like this. The very first thing I suppose we've got to talk to you about is what bonding actually is. So before we get into looking at the actual device, and I'm not going to do an unboxing because I have unboxed it and I've actually used this out in the field already, so I've been able to test out whether it's working or not, is we're going to talk about it. Quite simply, there are a number of different devices out there on the market that you can use to do what's called bonding. A lot of you will be familiar with the live view models, things like this, and or the KiloView series, and they're absolutely fantastic. What they do is allow you to add dongles from different providers into the machine, into the device, and what they'll then do is that they will then bond that signal together as if it's one signal. And the advantage of that, of course, is that not only do you get greater bandwidth, but you also get redundancy, because what's happening is that you can now use dongles or connections, modems, from different ISPs and telcos, and that's very, very attractive particularly in the video production market as well. So lots of professional companies will be using the live view series of devices, whether it's the Solo, which is the one I showed you, or others. The disadvantage of those particular devices is that they are simply a one-way device, and that is that what they do is that they take the signal from your particular device, sending it out through multiple dongles to the cell tower. It gets to a server somewhere in the internet, and the software on that server will then recombine the signal into one signal. Now what that does is it gives us simply the single stream going out across the internet, which again is fine for video, but it's not great for data, because with data you want it bidirectional. So there are some other devices on the market, such as Mushroom and Peplink and a couple of others, which will do both. They'll send signals across the internet in the way that you see in the diagram there, but they'll also send it back in this way as well. They'll bring it back, and that's what the Zifilink does. So the Zifilink is a device that will not only bond your signals together, send it out through the internet to your client, to the person that's wanting to see the signal, but it also allows data to come back the other way. And of course that now means that this particular device has a greater number of use cases or applications than simply a live view Solo or a Peplink or a KiloView device, which are built very much for a particular purpose. So let's have a look at the actual device itself and see what's there. Now in the box you get a simple little unit about the same size as the live view, but a bit smaller, and a whole heap of different accessories with it as well. So you'll get obviously a power source and power adapter. Now what you may need, if you're not using a plug that is the same as the one that's on the screen here at the moment, you may need to actually go and procure an extra plug, because Zifilink at the moment, and I hope they change that, aren't supplying different plugs for different plugs for different regions. So I'm hopeful that that's something that they will do into the future. But it's a fairly trivial thing to go and get a cable and plug, or use a travel adapter. That'll do the trick as well. What you also get is a number of extension cables for your USB dongles. That's because they are different sizes and they can actually cover up the little USB slots if you plug them in directly, so you can use the dongles to get you around that. And of course the power supply, and the power supply itself is a slightly different voltage than one would normally expect. I forget exactly what it is, but it's a slightly more powerful power supply than a normal USB powered device there as well. Now, one other thing that you need to be aware of with the Zifilink is that unlike the LiveU Solo or any of the LiveU devices, which have a battery in them, that way up, they have a battery and will have some sort of monitoring screen as well. The Zifilink needs to be connected to power. It's intended to be powered. It doesn't contain a battery. Again, in future models, we may find that the battery comes in, but this current iteration, there is no battery in it. So the front of the device is really quite simple. Just three USB ports and an on and off button. The back of the device, 2 USB ports, the power button, sorry, the power connector, not the button, and a LAN connector. Now the device itself will deliver Wi-Fi, so you can connect it up to a Wi-Fi that acts as a hotspot, or you can connect to it via your LAN. LAN obviously is the most effective way to do it, and I wouldn't have too many clients trying to connect up to it wirelessly. I don't believe the aerials are that strong enough to have more than a couple of different devices connecting up at any particular time, but it can be done. To turn it on, it's as simple as pressing the button, and it works as simple as that. Having connected it up, you plug in your modems, plug it into your device, PC or laptop, and having done that, you simply go to a URL, zifilink.bond, which is a local address, so it'll create a local area network. You go to that address, and what that will do is it'll allow you to see what you're seeing on the screen there at the moment, which is the admin interface and the monitoring interface. The whole thing about the Zifilink is it's been designed to be as simple as possible for a user. So the typical use case for it is that somebody who's out in the road, perhaps in a remote area where they're having a issue with connectivity, you want much greater bandwidth and reliability. You plug it into your laptop or your PC and away you go. However, in Australia, often the use case for it is going to be sitting behind a switch, a router, a switch, and needing to serve a local area network as well. There's some issues around doing that. I'll talk about that a little bit later and how you can get around it. But it works perfectly okay behind a switch and so on. You've just got to do a couple of little things to get it to work. So having done got that there, you plug it in and away you go. So the interface itself, let's just have a quick look at that. It looks something like this. Now what you'll see there when it's in operation is that you'll see that the modems that are connected to the device will automatically show up. Okay, it's a 5 dongle device, a 5 connection device. Why there are 8? One of the models that Zifilink has is an 8 dongle model. As at this point in time, that's not in production. They are going back and looking at it. What you saw then was as I took the USB modem out, it reacts almost immediately and will show you that the line is down or that there's no modem attached. In order to reconnect, you simply just plug in your modem. The device will initiate the handshake with the modem to wake it up, and it will go through and connect to your ISP. And once it is connected to your ISP or your telco, now all of a sudden you're going to see the little icons on the screen go green. It takes a little bit of time for all of this to happen, but there you are. It's as simple as that. Plug it in, see them working, and away you go. Now there are a number of different servers that you can connect to there as well. So again, connecting to servers is important because you want to try and choose the one that's closest to you for reasons of latency. And again, it's a simple matter of going and using the drop down, selecting the server, and you can see here that what I'm doing is changing from the Sydney server over to another. It'll reconnect, and once it's reconnected, all of the icons will go green again, and it will now load balance across all of those different devices. So it's splitting the signal up within the device into little packets. It's sending the packets across each one, across the 3 connections, and when it gets to the server at the other end, that's then going and reconnecting it. Now you can, as I said, it's a wireless hotspot. You can configure the wireless hotspot with the menu drop down there. There are going to be updates on a regular basis, and you can see some of the other menu items on the screen at the moment. Very minimalistic, so there's not a lot that a user can do to mess things up. So it makes it very, very easy. Again, it's plug in and play. It's as simple as that. So quite a useful little device there as well. Now, when how does it go in performance? Well, let's have a look by just pulling up Google. Sorry about that. We'll just try that again. So we'll pull up a Google interface. I just need to there we go. So here's Google, and this gives you an idea of the speed. And again, this is going through 3 dongles, 3 modems. It makes a difference. Now, you need for context. I'm in a small country town in Australia. The mobile coverage is okay, but it's not great, and it's only 4G. So these are 4G dongles there. So that brings you there. So there's the Zifilink site itself, and you can see how it's quite quick to get there as well. Now, as I said, there are a number of other models. There's a 3x model and the 8x model. The 8x model is currently being redeveloped. This is an important page to go and look at. You do need to be aware that all dongles, all modems, 4G and 3G and 5G modems, are not created equal. Different manufacturers will support different modems and their modems chipsets. So you need to make certain that you are actually using modems that come from on this particular site there as well. So I'd encourage you, if you are interested in this Zifilink, to go and have a look at that and try and get unlocked modems if you can. And that allows you to go between different providers much more easily rather than just simply taking them there. So I said before that it's not designed to sit behind a router and a switch and so on. That's not the primary thing, but it can be done. So what happens is that the device itself has a DHCP server in it, and it's set to an IP range that is in the 10 dot series. So it's set to a private network. It's a Class A private network address. However, as an end user, you can't get into that DHCP server and configure any of the settings. So in order for you to use it behind a network, you have to do a couple of things. It's a bit of a workaround, but it works. And the thing is to get yourself an old router, or as it's called in the UK, a router. So here what you can see on the screen there is that I've got one in the center there. Just very simple. I haven't got it plugged in, but this is what you do. So the blue cable is going to the WAN port of the modem or the router. The yellow cable then goes out from that router into your switch, and what you do is you configure the router to serve your DHCP if you don't have another device that's actually doing it on your network. So that will provide it. So that's the way that you can actually get around the lack of admin access into the DHCP server itself, and being able to set the IP range and so on. So this was just a very, very quick look at the Zifilink. I've used it in anger. I've used it in the field on a number of occasions now, in particularly difficult conditions in terms of internet availability or cell tower availability. It has performed flawlessly so far. It is a much more cost-effective solution than the Peplink or the Mushroom networks or some of the other larger manufacturing companies. The quality of the build is very, very good, and support is absolutely superb from Zifilink as well. They are constantly checking with me to see how things are going. They are really quite responsive along the way, and I have no qualms about recommending both the device but also the company as well. It is a startup. They've been going since 2019. So again, if you are interested in this particular product, you need to factor that into your thinking. Will they be around? I believe so. The market for these kind of devices is actually quite huge. I'm deploying a unit in Timor-Leste at the moment, and I've had inquiries from other Asian countries as well. So it's well worth investigating. So there you go. That's a very, very quick and first look at the Zifilink, and hopefully, if you want to, if you're interested in this particular product, give us a call. If you're in Australia, get in contact with us there, and you can leave a note along the way, or you can actually go and find us at mindittv.net. mindittv.net. Anyway, that's all for today. See you soon.